Give me what I want. Now you got me in the riptide, drinking sunshine. I cannot hide.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Chameleon Cuts. This is episode 4. You are in for a real treat today. We are going to be discussing music production and life moving from New York to Hollywood. We're going to be talking about podcasting, and we have my very, very, very special longtime best friend, Josh Rodriguez.
Hello. What up?
What's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
I'm good, Marty. I haven't seen your face in like months. What the hell?
I know.
didn't realize that. Like, it's like my first interaction face to face in a while.
Because you've been back in, New York for a while now. You've been there since like June, right?
No, June's a long time. I've been here since November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's snowing there right now too, right?
Marty, you have no idea.
I heard it was like 24 inches.
Ridiculous. It's like I've been driving around. Like I don't think I've ever seen it this high. Really,
Wow.
I don't remember seeing it this high.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that you guys got like 12 inches one day, and then it was like 24 inches the next day, and like something like that, right? It was really crazy.
It accumulated up to that. Yeah, and it's supposed to snow again a few times this week. So
Oh
good
my
times.
gosh, good times, yay. Listen, I miss the snow. I'm not gonna lie to you. And Jakey
I
misses
don't.
it too. My dog Jakey loves the snow. You don't
Yeah.
miss it at all.
Good places.
Well, so fun fact, guess what room I'm tuning in from?
What room? My
Just
old
guess.
my old bedroom.
Yeah, your old bedroom. Yeah. Josh and I used to be roomies, so this is like
Wow, that's
and
funny. That's the
you-
studio.
right. And speaking of the studio, you are tuning in live from the zoo, which is
The
what
zoo.
we called it back in the day.
The closet.
In the closet.
It's
Yes.
the closet, baby.
Yes. So Josh, tell everybody, just give like a brief introduction of like who you are and what you're up to right now. And then we're going to go backwards and we're going to start
Okay.
from, because there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
There's a
here.
lot to who I am right now. My name is Josh Rodriguez. Professionally, I'm a podcast producer at Uninterrupted. I am a podcast host. I host like 3 different podcasts. Dine with Josh Rodriguez, which is a basketball podcast. New Pod on the Block, which is a boy band podcast.
Yes.
And then I host a podcast with my friend Manny called Any Given Sunday, which is like a political and sports podcast. Right now I'm helping produce DJ Khaled's podcast. I do basketball podcast for Uninterrupted. I'm an internet TV host. I've been on YouTube channels, and I'm also a music producer. So there we go. It's a lot.
Amazing.
It's a lot.
Very, very, very cool. So let's go backwards now. Let's rewind.
Okay.
So Josh and I met when we were like 11, 12 years old, right?
On July 4th.
July 4th. It was literally fireworks ceremony
Yeah.
like in our town. And it was just very, very, very fun time. And we've been really good friends ever since. So Josh, do you remember the time? Well, so first of all, Josh just started producing for fun, like randomly.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to sing on that. And he was like, okay. So then we didn't know what the hell we were doing at all. Using those big, gigantic, like Dell-sized computers too. It wasn't even like a MacBook.
Ridiculous.
It was
And like the Radio Shack microphones that you hold like this.
God. You're right. It was like I think it was a dynamic microphone too. I know I was using dynamic mics.
It was
too
just
at
something
the
I bought for $9 at Radio Shack. That's all I know.
beginning. You got to start somewhere, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the more advanced stuff and help you out, let you know what kind of gear to get, where you can
Yeah.
get started for like on the cheap and have to have a professional sound. So we're going to talk about all that too. But so you started making all these different beats, and do you remember the moment where I stopped and I like let you know how good of a producer I thought that you were and that you needed to pursue it?
I do remember that conversation. I don't remember it in totality, but I do remember you being like, no, Josh, like you're good. Like you kid around, but you're good. And I was like, thanks, Monty. Like, I don't thank you. I appreciate that. And then you started coming around more often, and we started doing more songs, and yeah, I mean, thanks to you. I mean, if it wasn't for you, I tell people this all the time, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't continue to be doing music.
Wow.
Just the fact that you don't have that relationship and that
That's so awesome.
but it's cool, like to have someone recording
Josh.
over your songs, like you're making beats, and to have, it's a big deal when you're 16, 17 years old and like you like created this. It's like, what the hell? Like you trick yourself. You
We
trick
were
yourself with a good joke,
so
and it's like,
into our own music, you guys. We
Yeah.
would drive around and go get like McDonald's and be like blasting our music in the car. Like we loved what we did. We really, really, truly had
Yeah.
so much fun. And for me as a singer to have somebody that made such freaking awesome music, or
Yeah.
as you called it, white girl happy music, yeah. pop music, and then we would do super like gangster, like hip hop stuff sometimes. Like we were just like all over the place, and it was so fun. And I always thought you were just an insanely talented producer, insanely talented.
Thank you.
Yes. So you went to Rider College, you studied communications and media. In Philly, I used to visit you. We used to party, and I was like, ooh, hit the Club Philly A. Lots of good times there. Shout out to Quab, aka Yes.
Yeah, my boy
incredible
Quab.
rapper and artist. Yes, who you also produce for.
Yeah.
He's great. You guys have to check him out too. So that was a really, really cool time, the Rider years, right?
Yeah.
So after Rider, you came back to New York, and then you and I started kind of running the gauntlet of checking out different independent record labels who were kind of interested in me. And it was just this like thing that we went through. And even back, I remember when I was like 17 was when we started trying to like,
it was at Rider,
to be honest.
Yeah, it was while I was at Rider. Our first A&R meeting with Ivan was, I was in college.
You were in Rider, okay.
Yeah. That was my first.
It
was early. It was early. Like we started going through it because I remember like skipping class to do
oh my gosh.
But yeah, we started off like, and it's interesting because a lot of people with their first experience with an A&R is usually like either bad or like, you know, there's like a reality check. But with you, it kind of worked in a way where you blew everybody away in the building to the point where people came in and started clapping for you. Maria, for those of you who don't know, I don't know if she ever told the story, but Maria sung for the A&R. And people in the office were like, who the is that?
Oh my gosh. I had forgotten about that moment until just now. Like,
so I mean, here we are thinking at like, I'm like, I think I was like 19 or whatever. You were like 17, 18.
Yeah.
And like
17.
I mean, you can imagine like at that age when like an A&R is telling you, oh, like you got it. Like when his office is clapping for you, like you start envisioning things. And it just kind of like looking back on it, it kind of sucks because not that we aren't successful and not that we know we shouldn't be proud of what we have done, but I just think the bill of goods that was sold to us at that time was just completely unfair to people that young, you know, to be kind of, you know, sold that and then kind of just
definitely
without reason, just kind of taken away from.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of, you know, it's not talked about a lot, this kind of topic, and I'm really happy you brought that up because I think there are a lot of A&Rs that go out there and they go out of their way to recruit people, and then there's lots of promises made and there's lots of this big talk about like things that are going to happen, and it's like we were so young and naive, you know, and like, but even, you know, just the street smarts of us, and of course, you know, we're both from New York, but just like we always kind of did know in the back of our minds to like check ourselves. But you know what, guys, at the end of the day, we're artists, we're creators, we're sensitive creatures, so we still have emotions and we still do want good things to happen. So it's easier said than done to just like get over things kind of quickly like that, you know?
Right.
But what we realized was Ivan was the first of many people who, you know, had made it out like they really wanted to work with me. And then it's just like, you know, people, you meet all kinds of people in the industry, and when they see you and they think you're a talent, they want to bite on you and they want to, you know, grab a piece and all this stuff. But you're really lucky and fortunate if you find somebody who really wants to take the time to work with you and be really dedicated to you, because it's a huge commitment. So
it is a huge commitment. It's almost like finding a partner in life too, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like dating a little bit. I mean, sometimes you go on a date and you think it's a good date and, you know, you wonder why they haven't called you back. And I feel like a lot of A&Rs are not really forward with who they are and what their intentions are. And I think a lot of A&Rs, like the ones that you're talking about, like they were impressed with your talent and they were, you know, thinking about like the future with you. But for some reason, whatever the case was, like it just went in an opposite direction. But the way they went about that, to me, is what kind of makes me lose respect for them. And
the communication wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a conversation that was like, hey, Marty, like, you know, for X, Y, and Z, we're going to go in this direction, or we don't have the budget, or we don't, there was nothing kind of given to us. So we were just like, okay, peace, we're going to go this way. It was just like, so what essentially ended up happening was you really kind of took over the role as my manager, and you were always kind of just like there having my back as my man. Like I used to call Josh as my manager because he would protect me in these situations and come with me always when I would go to meet these random people with these random labels. He would be there with me acting as my manager, even though, you know, he was my best friend, my producer. But like, it was, you know, he was that person for me. And that really, really helped me a lot. You know, you guys need someone to support you when you're going to different meetings. Don't go by yourself. And like, you know, it's just, you know, you definitely want to have a person with you who supports you and looks out for your best interests at heart.
Yeah, who doesn't play any games. I mean, I know a lot of people know me as a human being, and they know like my general nature is to be very kind and like goofy, but like I do have a side to me that's kind of like, nah, like don't fuck with me.
Yeah, you stand up for you
Yeah.
definitely stand up for what you believe in.
A lot of people don't actually get to see that side of me, which is interesting because it never really comes up. Like I'm generally very kind, but like with you, I feel like you've been put through the ringer so many times and you're relying on me to kind of like, not just like manage you, but kind of protect you and like from BS so that you can focus on making music. And while you were going through that, like at the same time, I'm kind of going through it too, because I produce for you. So like, it affects you more because like you were directly the artist and you were dealing with them personally, but as me as well, like I'm producing for you and I'm hoping, that we can, grow together as, a duo and whatnot. And then on top of that, we're friends. So it's like all these layers. So like when they messed with you, they messed with me. Right. So I got tired of it.
Right. No, and you really were a Titan protector, and today still are a Titan protector, I think, of me, which like I still hit you up for
absolutely
questions that have happened in the industry, just different things that I've been like, does this seem normal to you? Is this something that I should do? And you're like, no, Madi, the red flags are there. So it's like,
guys.
Sometimes
that hurts to say because sometimes those opportunities seem so dope, like the last one you had, where it's like, damn, like this would be cool if it was true, but at the same time, like I got to be honest with you.
Do you think we should talk about that? Because people are talking about that.
We can. If you want to talk about it, I mean, it's your show, Madi. I'm here for the ride. Let's do it.
I mean, you
don't have to name drop. You can just say
I don't want to name drop or throw somebody
name
under
drop.
the bus, but yeah, it was a certain producer.
Yeah.
Very reputable, multi-Grammy award-winning producer had put a post that he was looking for new artists to recruit. Okay. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, I've posted about this too. I even screenshotted our conversation one time. And essentially this producer saying that, I want to work with new artists. DM me if you want to work. So I DM'd this person. And at the end of the day, all they wanted to do was, no offense to DJ Khaled, but his name was referenced, and I love DJ Khaled, but I was asked to pay $2,000 just for a name tag shout out on one of my songs,
right?
That you produced with your beat. So
right. So for those who don't know what a name tag shout out really is, if you're just kind of listening without knowing what the music industry is like, he asked Maria to pay $2,000 so he can go, "Queen Chameleon, this is dope." Like that's it. Didn't make the beat. Didn't add a verse.
Nothing.
Just to say her name. Just so for him to say her name on a track. That's it. $2,000.
Yeah. And the thing is that this producer is not a producer that's really prevalent in the industry right now. He's fallen off of it, and it's just like the credibility it's not the same as what it used to be. It's just not he's not even in the lane as a producer of a direction that I would go in, and like currently he's just doing more hip hop stuff, and that's just not really where I'm at right now. So it wasn't worth it to me, but people are coming after this person on Instagram now because this person is still posting about new artists. And I just saw yesterday, people are like, don't do it unless you want to get asked to pay tons of money. He asked me to pay $20,000 and blah, blah. And I'm just like, wow. So people are calling that out though. So if you're going to do that as a producer, just like, that there's going to be black blood for that.
But you know what? I'm proud of you, Madi, because I feel like,
thank you.
I mean, Madi
that was another disheartening thing, you guys, but this is you go through this kind of shit and you just got to bounce back from it. It took me a few days. I got straight up chills when this person messaged me back on Instagram. I was like, oh, it's gonna be great. And then, but it's okay because I called up Josh and he was like, yeah. He cut, me and Josh are so we've got such a rhythm and a chemistry that like we know what the other is thinking or where the other is kind of leaning toward. And we check in with each other to get those confirmations, I think, as a mutual kind of back and forth communication. And I knew in the back of my mind something was off. And I was like, I got to call Josh because I think he's going to confirm what my thoughts are. And you were just like, Madi. Oh, I just lost your sound. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're recording and we're back. Pro Tools. We'll talk about Pro Tools and why it's called the diva of the industry. Avid backwards spells diva. Did you guys know that? That's a little audio.
I did not know that, but now I'm on diva.
Use that.
It's so appropriate. It's
totally
so
appropriate. Totally appropriate, right? So
absolutely.
So, as a producer, you've always been so talented, and when you started helping manage me and we were doing these different contests with me and stuff, you were just such a great friend always. And I learned so much about we would go to so many different shows, whether I was singing the national anthem in the stadium or I was performing in, the USO benefit concert with Guns N' Roses. You were there for me. You were always there to support me. And like, I swear to God, having a person to support you like that, it's an unbelievable feeling. Cause Josh is such a close person to me that it always made me feel very like game face on. Like if Josh shows up, like I'm ready to perform. Like I never wanted to let him down. I always wanted to make him really proud. And like, I really respect this person as my friend. And like that was so important to me that I always wanted to make him proud. Like there would never be a show that Josh would be at that I would like make an error. Cause I was just so convicted. Like I'm gonna do this for Josh. Cause like, you know, we just always had that friendship and that loyalty I've taken so seriously. I take your music seriously and your time seriously and all that stuff. So that for me was very organic and I'm just thankful that I had you there because
it was
you
dope.
need support, guys. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
And especially, you know, what we're trying to do is not typical, you know, especially where we're from, the county where we're from. A lot of people just kind of go to a trade school or go to college for a couple of years or go to a community college and they get a job in the area. And us doing what we're doing, I wouldn't say it's looked down upon. I don't think people look down upon us, but they kind of like scratch their heads like, what are they doing?
yeah,
Like,
it's
what
not
are
a
they-
straightforward recipe.
Yeah. It's almost like that we're chasing something that's unattainable. Like, you know, and for a while, you know, it kind of feels that way too when, you know, you're by yourself across the country. It's nice to have someone who's a friend who's going through the same thing, who can relate or who actually at least has some type of aspirations that are similar to yours. I mean, we were
Definitely.
talking the other day and, you know, you mentioned how like you feel like your big break's coming because mine came around like the third or fourth year when I was living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And people don't realize
Because
that.
you moved
Like,
out to LA. Yeah, you moved out to LA before I did. I came like 2 years later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those 2-3 years when I wasn't doing anything and I was like going from place to place and sleeping on a couch and sleeping on the floor, and even at times I didn't have an apartment, like,
Yeah.
you know, you have to fight off those people who just basically are like, yo, what are you doing? And a lot of those people are your friends and family. So
It's
always good to have
difficult.
some-
You have to constantly fight to defend yourself, to justify being where you are. And like, if people can understand. And like, for me, I mean, I had lived in 8 different apartments in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Because LA is so expensive and you move around a lot. You have to sublet. There's like all kind, you know, if you can't report $10,000 in your bank account,
Right.
a lot of apartments won't let you come in there. So you just do what you have to survive, you know, and it's just, I just remember so many good times together, Josh. And then when we did the Kickstarter campaign for the music video, that was really, really, really super special time. And I think our community really responded well to that. And I had no idea that people were going to donate the way they donated. And it was just a lot of fun. And I think that all of those things really prepped, hopefully you as well as me. I know it definitely prepped me for, you know, coming out here. Cause you know, that was all kind of practice, you know what I mean? For coming out here to LA and then like, okay,
but I also think it
thrown
gave
into more stuff.
It gave you a sense, you know, I just said everything about the people in our town and family and friends, but it doesn't mean at the same time they don't support you and they don't want what's best for you.
Right.
And I think, you know, your friends and the community, you know, we have a small town, Haverstraw, that they showed up for you. And I think at the end of the day, you know, they might have their opinions of like, you know, maybe she's out there too long or maybe but they still want what's best for you. And they still think you're talented and they still think you're gifted and they still think you have, you know, the capabilities of accomplishing whatever you have to accomplish. I think a lot of the times it has nothing to do with us, but the fact that like, you know, only a certain amount of people make it and you might be good enough to make it, but the odds are just like, you're playing the lotto. Like, what are you doing? Why would you play the lotto? You're 30 years old. But it was nice to see that. No, that was actually really cool to see the GoFundMe, like how many people came through for you. And
yeah, it was really cool. You know, doing community charity work over the years and just like, I guess, working in restaurants since I was younger, you know, and I always try to give back to the community. And I think that it was nice that when it came time that I wanted to do something, that the community supported me. So that was really cool. So I had been singing over the years at tree lightings and national anthem and stuff like that. And it was really cool. It was really cool. So guys, look to your communities for support because
absolutely, you'll be surprised.
Yeah, you will be
surprised.
Same
people who you think like aren't on your side, they are on your side. They're just scared for you.
Yeah,
that's really what all it is. They're just scared for you because they wouldn't take the same chances you take.
It's definitely a good point. So a big topic that I want to talk about is mental health and wellness in the industry right now, because it's such a big thing. And I know you haven't seen the Britney Spears documentary yet, but I'm just so happy that this is a topic that's being more discussed. And I've been asking people in these interviews, I've been saying, you know, because they're all entertainers or creators and what have you. And I'm asking all the people I'm interviewing, what do you do for yourself to take yourself out of the work for a minute, take yourself out of the creating and just kind of zen yourself and just like stay balanced.
Yeah,
I know basketball has always been an escape for you.
It's kind of corny, but it has been. Like, I've always played ball my whole life, and like whenever there was problems in my household, let's say, like I would go out and shoot in the driveway. Whenever like I was just mad at something, I'd go out and shoot. Like I would just shoot around, and as I've gotten older and my body's breaking down and I can't move the way I used to
everywhere. Oh yeah.
Like I get out of this chair and I pull an ACL accidentally. I trip and fall and break my head open. Like that's becoming like less and less. And it's almost like I have to find peace in other things. And it's weird. Like whenever I get overwhelmed with podcasting, I do music. Whenever I get overwhelmed with music, I do podcasting. So I kind of like it trades off, which works for me. And I'm also someone, I love being by myself. Like I can't explain to people. And I think a lot of my friends and family take it personal. I love being by myself. Like I could spend literally all day for a week, like just me doing nothing. I love it. But that's how I like recharge. I need that recharge. So sometimes just like spending time by yourself and watching TV, being lazy and being okay with that. Like I think that we've put a lot of pressure on ourselves to like wake up and make a hit song. You know what I mean? Wake up and have the best idea that's going to make us $1 million. And I feel like that pressure just weighs on us. And I think the best way to alleviate that pressure is just to kind of not feel any pressure and forget that it even exists. And sometimes that just involves like sitting on the couch eating ice cream and watching BoJack Horseman.
Hell yeah. Definitely rock on to that. I love that. I think that that's amazing and so important to talk about and to note, and it's like, you don't need to feel guilty either for pursuing your career as an artist, guys. I mean, like, you've got to follow your dreams, do what you love, because then one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, well, I never pursued what I wanted to do. So
right.
There you have it. Right. So Josh, let's talk about, so when you moved out to LA, what did you first start doing? Because how did you make the transition from producer to getting involved in podcasts and stuff like that? Because I've always thought you were the funniest person ever. Okay, so first of all, Josh is from the Bronx, New York. So already, the sense of humor is like off the charts hilarious, okay? So Josh I can't even, oh my gosh, so many inside jokes. I'm just going to bring up the random things right now because I've prepared them for you. So I already told you.
I'm ready. Throw them at me.
The word bobbers, what does that mean to you?
Bobbers, go!
Bobbers!
Can I tell the bobber story? That's the
matching tattoos.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can tell the bobber.
The bobber story. This has nothing to do with music, but so basically, I went to prom with Julia, who's Maria's best friend.
Yes.
But I was a year older, so I was like, but it doesn't matter. So we went to Seaside, Seaside Heights after prom. And it was like a group of like 15 of us, and we all we weren't all dating. Like it was just like a group of it was just like a fun group, and we all just we fell in love with each other.
All of us.
It was
after prom weekend, amazing.
We all just I didn't know everyone. I knew some people. I was friends with everybody. Julie and I were it wasn't like everyone was just couple. It was anyway, we all fell in love with each other.
Yes.
As a group.
Yes.
Room 7.
Room 7. It's going down.
We made a song called Room 7, which I can't find, and it makes me sad.
It's okay. I remember all the lyrics, even your.
I do too, which is freaking weird because we made it 15 years ago. But yeah. So we got to this. There's this. If you guys are from New York, New Jersey, Seaside Heights, there's a place called Bobbers, and I hope it still exists. But it's like a diner.
I hope it doesn't.
And it's the most dink thing ever. We got there. We sat in plastic Puerto Rican barbecue chairs.
We drank out of Dixie cups.
And we got served in Dixie cups, which
dollar store plastic cutlery.
It was just they were cutting every corner you could possibly cut as a business to stay open. But the food,
the napkins were like toilet paper.
The food was fantastic.
It was excellent.
And we loved it.
So good.
So we get home and then like I said, we fell in love with each other. As a group, we just fell in love with each other. So we were like, yo, let's do this again. Let's go back next weekend and let's do this again. So the problem was we had this idea on a Friday night at 12 o'clock at night. And we needed a car to go down. My mom had a minivan. She doesn't have anymore, but she had a minivan that could fit 8 people. But I had to convince my mom to let me use the minivan. So everyone's in the driveway,
you're just waiting.
To talk to my mom. And I didn't know this, but the way my house is set up, my parents' bedroom faces the driveway. So you
And
guys
all
could
we
hear
heard, guys, was
you guys could hear everything.
all we
that
heard
I'm
was,
saying to
"Mom,
my mom.
I want to go to Seaside."
Oh, Mom, I just want to go to Bobbers. Okay.
Bobbers, Mom. And Mom was like, "Josh, what are you talking about?" Josh, I
I
don't
just
know.
want to go to Bobbers. That's it. Just want to go to Bobbers.
Like 3:00 in the morning. We go to Seaside. And we all started dying in the car. We legit just
so when I
asked
got outside,
to
you
take
guys
his
told me
mom's
to hear
van
when did I.
so we could go to Jersey.
Yeah. It was unsuccessful, which is weird because my parents usually let me do anything that I wanted to do. I kind of raced myself. But yeah, that time my mom wasn't having it. She wasn't having Bobbers.
That was amazing.
But
Amazing detour story. We've had so many great stories and jokes. It's like we could just go forever with those. Okay, so back to you. So the transition from producer to podcasting.
Right.
How did that happen?
So I moved out to Los Angeles, but when I moved out to LA, I know you remember this, but for people who don't know me, I moved out to LA for 3 months, a year and a half before that. I was out there in 2014 for 3 months, came back, was going to go back. My brother got sick, passed away. So I was waiting, like just personal
rest
stuff.
in peace, Reeve.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
Reeve. So I go back, and this time around, I'm like, I need a job. Like, I can't go out there without a job. And I hosted a show called the Indie Music Video Countdown Show, ZTV's Indie Music Video Countdown Show. So I had hosting experience, and I knew that's something I always liked doing. I was an MC in college. Like, every time we had an event, I would be the MC. Like, I hosted Twister tournaments, basketball tournaments. I was always on the mic. I was always like entertaining people. So I knew I wanted to do something like that. And one day I was just on YouTube. I just finished watching an episode of my favorite television show ever, Mr. Robot. And I was just looking at different shows, just different clips on it because I was just obsessed with it. And I came across this YouTube channel, AfterBuzz TV, and it was a panel of 4 people talking about the show who looked like me. Like, when I say look like me, I mean my age. I was like maybe 26 at 27 at the time. And I was like, I could do this. Like, it was nothing against them. I actually know these people now. Like, it was nothing against the people on the panel, but I was like, I could act like, let me do this. So I went onto their YouTube About channel, got the email, emailed them. They emailed me back saying, hey, listen, we don't accept, applicants outside of California, Los Angeles. And so I emailed them back. I lied. I was like, oh no, I live there. I'm just in New York. Like, I lied. So I ended up sending a submission video, and they accepted me. Got to AfterBuzz, became an internet TV host while pursuing music. As a host, I was not making money, so I needed a job. AfterBuzz was hiring engineers, and I was like, oh, well, I can engineer. I've been engineering pretty much since I've been doing music, thinking it'd be the same as audio engineering. It wasn't. It was kind of like that, but it was also video engineering. Long story short, I got a job with AfterBuzz, and AfterBuzz makes all their shows podcast as well. So that's how I got into podcasting, because I got assigned to Ross Matthews' podcast, who was doing his show at AfterBuzz. So I was basically editing Ross Matthews' podcast. And because I have an audio background and I know audio, it's very easy for me to do those type of things. So after he left AfterBuzz, he brought me with him because he liked me. So I was freelancing his stuff. AfterBuzz knew me as a good engineer, so they put me on Maria Menounos' show for a little bit because her producer left. So I had Ross and Maria Menounos on my resume, basically, which is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
And
Maria Menounos from E, and then Ross Matthews, obviously.
And then mixed with my experience, like, I know how to host, I know how to audio engineer, I know how to edit. Like, it was just, it was
like the perfect marriage for you in a way.
Yeah. So basically I put, I used LinkedIn. I got lucky. The EP at Uninterrupted connected with me, didn't say anything, just asked to connect with me. And I saw where he worked, and I was like, yeah, let me message him.
And Uninterrupted was the podcast for?
Uninterrupted is LeBron James's company.
Okay.
So Uninterrupted is the company that LeBron James owns. It's basically a company that gives voices to athletes. So there's a podcast department, there's a video department, there's like everything. They were looking for podcast producers, and I messaged him, and I was like, hey, what's up? Josh Rodriguez, just wanted to, if you guys need help with anything, let you know. And he's like, we're actually looking for podcast producers. And he basically set up a call with me, interviewed me that day, and the rest is history. I mean, I got lucky. Really.
So awesome.
So
awesome. For me, I never had any doubts that you were going to come out to LA and find success, because you've always had that work ethic. Like I said, since we were kids, you always were just focused and really, really easy to work with, and just a kind, good, genuine person, and not giving up. And, guys, you're just hearing about the success right now, but there are hard times too. I mean, like Josh is saying, times when you're 4,000 miles away from your family, you're sleeping on floors, you're doing all this stuff to just survive. And like, it's crazy. I mean, like, I remember I worked for a terrible DJ company out here for like over a year.
I forgot about that.
And I mean, terrible. I was
Yeah.
like DJing weddings for them for like $250, and it would be like on the books, and it would be like a full day event. Guys, don't ever DJ a wedding for less than $700 unless they're your friends. Seriously, it's so much setup and so much. But anyway, my point is that, man, New York is no walk in the park. But to me, and I want to know your thoughts on this, to me, New York felt like child's play compared to LA.
Really? I think
it has, because I felt like there's an inherent competition here that's going on, and it's very busy, and it's very there's a lot of superficiality to go through when you meet those good people in the music industry. Film industry is very different in LA, I feel like. And in the music industry, there's a lot of competition going on, I feel like it's cool that you got into podcasting, because I think that's a very supportive community, very congregational, and very, just communicative and supportive. Yeah.
We'll help each other out.
Yeah, I see that, so.
Yeah, so for me in Los Angeles, I think it's difficult for us, particularly Maria, because we are moving across the country. I think it'd be hard for someone moving from Los Angeles to New York, because it's just, you're out of your realm, and they're just two different cities. Like you and I are used to people who are more straightforward. You know what I mean? We're used to like that bluntness of like, okay, like we could take it. With LA, it's kind of like people will put you on and think that you
right, and kind of dance around things, and like, right. I mean, you were just like, just let us know if it's cool if you don't
like just
collaborate. You don't need to take you don't need to take my cell phone number and my IG and all this stuff. Like, just tell me. I'm fine. We won't take it to heart. It's not, it's nothing personal. Yeah. I think we kind of learned that whole, it's business, it's nothing personal thing since we were young. I think we kind of figured that out.
Right. I think you're right also, like people migrate to Los Angeles because they they're looking for the same career that you're doing. So you have people from like North Carolina, Detroit, Chicago, Texas, like
Minnesota, Indiana,
this like 20-mile radius trying to do the same exact thing you're doing.
Right. So what are your thoughts on with the pandemic and where everything has gone, how we've gone so remote? We're on Zoom right now. You're in New York, I'm in LA. Like I'm as a vocalist, I'm doing sessions, recording from home and sending stuff out, and you're recording your podcast stuff from home. And like, what are your thoughts on, is it necessary to be in Los Angeles to pursue your dreams anymore, or
not during the pandemic? I don't think it is. I mean, me personally, I want to be in Los Angeles because I feel more productive when I'm in Los Angeles as opposed to New York. But, right now, as long as like things are virtual like this, I really don't think so. And honestly, even without the pandemic, I mean, you could be from like Oklahoma City. You can drop a dope music video. You can tweet about it. You can put it on Facebook and it can make the rounds.
This is the thing, guys.
Yeah, I think the benefit of being in Los Angeles is the fact that there's more people to connect with. So therefore, your chances are higher to connect with somebody who can help you. Whereas if you're from like Oklahoma City, it's just you and your town. You can still make it. You don't have to go to Los Angeles. If you pop off, you pop off. But I still think there's a benefit of being in the arena, right? I used to tell my friends, like a lot of my friends were like, why do you have to go to Los Angeles? I'm like, well, listen, if you wanted to make the NBA and the scouts were all going to one court and that one court was in Los Angeles, you would have to play at that court. Like you would have to play basketball at that court for them to make the NBA. Doesn't matter how good you are in Rockland County. I have to go to Los Angeles and play there. So I told them that I need to go to Los Angeles. I need to play there. Like people need to hear my stuff and I need to see if I'm good enough. I'm not good enough, fine. Like whatever. So that's why I moved to Los Angeles. Like that's where everything is. And to a point, it still exists in that manner, but you don't need to be in LA. I just would kind of recommend it. But it's difficult. It's not easy.
It's not easy. You plugged me in with a few people when I moved over here that helped me kind of get started a little bit, helped me start singing in studios and meeting people. So that was really cool. There's that great cross-pollination that can happen with contacts in New York and LA, so that's a great thing. And I do think that the industry is different in New York versus LA. So that's been kind of something to learn. The culture is real different too. DJing was really different for me out here than it was back home. Very different.
Yeah.
So that was something to learn too. But yeah, I definitely think that there's something to be said about being, in Los Angeles. And what are your thoughts on because with the pandemic happening and with cases kind of climbing still, and, I know it's winter and we're really hoping that cases come back down. as the spring approaches us. But do you think that, more events will start to happen and, more opportunities for networking and things like that? Do you think that, that might be something to look forward to anytime soon this year? Or like, do you, because like whenever I'm thinking about like, maybe I should, I get those pulls of wanting to be in New York, right? Wanting to be near the friends and the family and the great food and all that stuff, and I'm hearing you say like, I'm more productive in LA. And I think that's probably because of some of the same reasons. You've got the comforts in, New York of just like, those outlets, like if
Right.
you can stop what you're doing and you can go and you can hang out with your friends because you have that convenience. But here it's like, I find myself waking up and just like doing work right away. Like my outlet is really going outside, taking a walk, or like, hooking up with some of my like, few close friends out here, but it's with the pandemic. So it's like kind of like, so it's just, it is work here. So, it's about finding your balance, I think. What do you think about all that?
Well, I mean, to answer your thing about the pandemic, I mean, it just depends on how we do it as a country. That's like really, that has nothing to do with music. That has nothing to do with the industry. It has everything to do with the cases are going to go down, if our country's going to comply with certain federal regulations, if people are going to wear masks, if people are going to take it seriously. It really has everything to do with that. And if you want me to be completely honest with you, we don't have to get political here, but I don't trust this country to do so. So I don't know how in this pandemic. Hopefully things start opening back slowly. Hopefully, we get this thing under control in some sort of way. I wear a mask. I know people are kind of worried about a vaccine. I understand that, long-term effects of the vaccine. So you want the public to take a vaccine when they don't know the long-term effects of it.
Right.
Which, it's a difficult thing to deal with, and I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know if we're going to start living with it. But we'll see.
Right. And it didn't help that I think it was the CEO of Pfizer wouldn't take the vaccine. That was disheartening.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you know about that. Supposedly he wouldn't take it. And he made a comment that like, oh, I'm just going to save it for the people that need it. And it was like, dude,
really? I'm going to look that up.
Look that up.
Fact check you, Marty.
Yeah. Yeah. That comment came from a person who actually used to work at Wyeth who told me that. So yeah. But, a lot of people are really happy with it and it's helping. So I hope it works. I really do hope it works.
I mean, I do too. I mean, like I said, I'm not someone who's against vaccines. I think, a lot of scientists work really hard. This is their profession. And there hasn't been any CDC regulations or FDA regulations that have been lifted or compromised for the vaccine. So for me, I'm comfortable taking it. But on one hand, I can also understand someone who's concerned taking it because we don't know the long-term effects. Right. This is a new vaccine. This is something that's treating something different. And, we don't have any case studies saying, well, 10, 15 years after you take the vaccine, this is what happens, because we just don't know those answers yet. So I get both sides of it. I trust in science. I trust in the people who make the vaccine. And, I understand that there's money to be made in pharmaceutical industry, but all that
whole thing. Yeah.
But that to me, that's a structural issue that we have to fix within our government and how we take insurance. A lot of that is separate from the people who make the vaccine. So for me, like it's not just vaccine though. It's not just vaccination. It's
a lot of things. Yeah.
Wear a mask.
Coincide with each other
as much as you possibly can. Like it's
a due diligence plethora of things, and
it's a lot of different things.
We've got a team up here, and my father is in Italy right now, and Italy is an orange zone. He literally, just to go to Italy, he had to get tested the day before his flight, the day of his flight. Then when he left JFK and went to Rome, he had to test again. And then once he got to Sicily, they wanted him to quarantine for 14 days, and it's still very real and it's happening everywhere. So I do agree. I vouch for that. We need to take this seriously. Yeah. So, well, moving off of the COVID topic. So there's so many wonderful things that are going on for you right now. And I'm really happy to see you in this place of productivity and just like getting to do what you're great at, which is expressing your personality and helping others and communicating and sharing information, being insightful, and bringing others in on those journeys and educating people essentially. And that's what this is about. Chameleon Cuts. It's about sharing free education and hoping to inspire others so they can learn from us and our experiences. So let's talk about getting started with basic production. Let's tell people about the basic gear that they can buy, the best user-friendly, easy DAW to buy,
Right.
and which DAWs are better for some versus others, because I have my takes on that and opinions on that, but I want to know yours. You produce a lot more than I do.
Right.
And how can tell somebody how they can get started?
See, this is all preference to me, right? Because I talk to other producers who like producing different things. I know producers who produce in Ableton. I know producers who produce in FL Studio. And I producers who produce in Logic. I personally produce in Pro Tools. So for me, the easiest way to get started, honestly, just buy an M Audio, cheapest one you can find.
An M Audio. Tell everybody what an M Audio is.
It's a MIDI controller or a keyboard. So if you it's the easiest way to get your ideas onto the DAW. The DAW, which is basically Pro Tools or Logic.
With a USB port.
Yeah. So you get the M Audio, you get an audio interface, which is basically something you connect to the computer that transfers information into the computer. You can connect a microphone into it. You can connect your speakers in through it so you can hear sound. And to me, that's really the basics. A microphone, obviously, if you want to record vocals. For me personally, I like Pro Tools because I was taught on Pro Tools, but I find that a lot of people catch on to Logic easier than other programs. Logic seems to be the most accessible. It seems to be the easiest one. It's made by Apple, so you can download it on there if you'd like. You just go straight to your computer, or you could find a crack online, but don't tell them I said that. So yeah, I think that would probably be the easiest thing. The cool thing about music is that it is kind of intimidating at first because like you don't know these programs, but they're very easy to learn. FL Studio probably is also easy as well with the drum sequencer. Like you can literally just like sequence your drums and just like click on like little squares.
Very cool.
Of, like, playing stuff. So if I'm a producer, if I'm going to encourage anybody to produce, I probably would tell them Logic or FL Studio, even though I produce in Pro Tools.
Okay. Very cool. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I use Logic a lot. I think it's very easy and user-friendly, guys. It's like copy and paste, edit, undo stuff. Like you don't have to get super crazy with quick commands. You can if you want to go fast, but I definitely agree with that. Microphone. Can you recommend a microphone? Economically priced microphone?
Man, off the top of my head, not really. A new house is pretty cool.
Okay.
I would say something like that. That's the one that I had.
What do you think is the price range that people should be investing in for a microphone?
In a microphone? I mean, here's the thing. Like the weird thing about bedroom recording and whatnot now is like, you don't really need the craziest equipment. Like you can get like a $200, $300 microphone and be okay.
Yep.
Like your mix will still be okay. We're at a place now where you can ship stuff out to other engineers and they can mix things for you, or you can teach yourself. And have a passable mix. I mean, there's been mixes that I've had with subpar microphones that I think are fine. A lot of it is in the mix. So, and without like crazy plugins as well. So for me, I just think get a passable mic that's maybe like $200, $300, and you don't have to like spend crazy amounts on a mic these days.
Right.
There's songs you hear on the radio that like you can tell weren't recorded on the best microphones.
Right.
Yeah.
Sound a little bit more rough, a little bit more folky, maybe.
Especially hip hop. Especially
and it's so funny because in terms of production, it always depends, I guess, what kind of sound you want too, because if you want it to sound super shiny and super polished, then it's like you're going to want to do digital recording on like a digital console like an SSL. But when you want something a little more folky, a little more singer-songwriter-esque and more raw and crunchy, like analog is like kind of the better route, the more preferred route. So, okay, that's great. And then I also wanted to ask you, like, how did you, because you became a very good producer, but how did you, I know there were people that helped you start to learn things. So you were kind of mentored by somebody who helped you and taught you the basics in the beginning. And who was that? And then tell us also what other outlets you used to learn about how to get better at production.
So, I mean, honestly, like you helped me a lot in the beginning.
Me?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, because like you taught me like just basic concepts and things like that I didn't know. Like
I guess like mic mix or headphone mix stuff probably, and like
like this sounds good, and you're like, this is why it sounds good, Josh. Like that's called a harmony. Oh, okay. But like it sounds so simple now, but like that's what it was.
But that was the basic, yeah. Oh my
But definitely
God.
someone and I think you're alluding here to Donnie.
Yes.
Donnie, who actually just messaged me last night.
Shout out to Donnie.
Was in Garnerville.
Right? What?
Yes. So I'm gonna actually see him tonight, which is very funny.
What?
Yeah. Donnie moved to Garnerville. So I will be seeing
Don
Donnie
is a
tonight,
king. Don is
who
a
I haven't
king,
seen in
y'all.
like 4 or 5 years, which I'm really excited.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Donnie helped me a lot. Donnie, what happened was once I graduated college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I found his group on a site called Reverb Nation. And so I just shot him a message. I was like, "Hey, I see you guys are from Nyack," because at the time that's where he was from. I was like, "I do pop music as well. Like, just wanted to see if he wanted to collab." And he hit me back, and like he invited me over to his house in the studio that they had, which was a dope studio in Nyack in a garage. And like he just kind of took me under his wing in a way where it's like looking back on it, like there's just no way he thought I was good. Like, like because he's a fucking genius. Like I Donnie, like I
He's
tell him
brilliant.
this to this day. Like I met people in Los Angeles. I know people who've made Grammy winning records, and I
Right.
would still take Donnie over every single one of them. I mean, I've seen Donnie pick up like instruments that I've never seen in my life and just been like, like he's crazy. Like
Yeah, he's got a
unreal.
great mind. He's very, because of you, I had the pleasure to work with him too. And he's so
Yeah.
visionary with his ideas.
He's unreal. Like he'll make something in 5 minutes
Yeah.
better than anything I've ever made, and it's like it makes me want to quit, but at the same time, it inspires me. If that makes any sense.
Mm.
But yeah, he taught me everything I know
Wow.
about mixing. He was very encouraging. Donnie has always been someone who encouraged me to make music and make it
Yeah.
my way. And there were times where I would always nag. I'd like, Donnie, like I know you think this sucks. Like tell me this sucks. Like I know you don't think I'm that good. Like it's okay. Like it's fine. Because I wanted to get better. Like, 'cause you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if I was on the court with Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan is telling me, "Oh no, you're good, man." Like it's like, no, shut the fuck. Like you 21 to nothing. I don't have any type of the ability you have. Like stop telling. Like I know you don't think I'm that good. But the Donnie's,
Right.
he taught me a lot of how to mix vocals, which I think is my strength, is mixing vocals.
I absolutely agree. Oh my God. The things we recorded in your closet and the way you can make them sound was like unbelievable. And on my Reverb Nation, guys, I have some of those tracks. If you want to go listen to them, I've got Real Thing on there, which was recorded in that closet right there, and it sounds great. People always compliment the production of that. And I think everybody kind of realized how very real this reality is of at-home production when Billie Eilish and Phineas came out with their stuff. People were like, "Oh yeah, we don't need to go here and there." And it's like, yeah, that's what we've all been trying to tell you guys for years. So yeah, that's amazing. Having a mentor is so important. Having people to support you throughout the process is so important. And if you guys don't have anybody there, to teach you, like we're here, so you can contact us and ask us questions. That I want this to be a very open platform for communication and questions being asked and answered. And I want you guys to learn. So I'm definitely going to put Josh's contact info on the bottom and mine. So okay, next thing I want to ask you is, where are things going for Josh Rodriguez now? Because I know you started more music production again, even though you're so busy with the podcasting.
So
what do you see right now? Yeah.
It's 2021. I want to release an EP by the end of the year. Like that's my goal. I have the songs. The thing is, like I have the songs. It's finding, the artist for the songs. You came over a couple months ago when you were in New York. You recorded something.
Yes.
It's something that I've been pushing back. It's something that I haven't really taken the proactive steps to do so, but I am now. I realize it's going to take a little bit of cash because I do want it to sound as good as possible, and some things I'm not capable of doing.
Okay.
And probably hiring some people work for hire type stuff. So I'm working on that. I have songs that are written out that are reference tracked already, just need a vocalist for it. And then hopefully by the end of the year, like a 5-6 track EP is something that I want to release, like with like a Calvin Harris type. You know how Calvin Harris releases songs, so he's not on any of them. It's just like his beat. So something like that.
Definitely. Hear that, guys? Hit up Josh Rodriguez if you want to collab with him. He's got a project coming out. Woo!
Yeah, I can't wait.
It sounds awesome.
It's been a long time.
We gotta finish
I've been
up.
in the studio here and there. Me and Amir have been making a lot of tracks for his stuff, and his career's taken off as well. So
shout out to Amir, amazing R&B artist.
Yeah, Landon. He goes by Landon LVN DVN if you want to look him up. So
very cool.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, I want to stay on top of myself with that because I think it's kind of weird how long I've been making music, but I haven't released anything since Trapped in the Closet Volume 2. Which is an inside joke, kind of. I didn't really release anything. It's a mixtape that me and my friends made. based off of that closet right there, Trap in the
Yes.
Closet. There was volume
Yes.
1, volume 2, and it's been a long time since I've actually like released stuff. So
I definitely
It's
looking
time.
forward to that, and definitely excited to be a part of it. So keep me in
Yeah.
the loop about that. Super,
Hell
super
yeah.
exciting stuff. Yeah. So can you just talk a little bit more about the podcast that you're working on now, just in a little more detail? Because I want to entice people to come and check it out, because I think it's great what you're doing.
Well, which one? There's a lot of them.
Well, let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about the podcast you have with LeBron James right now. What's your role and
So I'm a podcast producer for the whole company. So I work on different podcasts. I produced a podcast called 17 Weeks, which was a football podcast. But now that the season's
17
over-
weeks? Okay.
Yeah, but now that the season's over, I'm helping out with DJ Khaled's podcast. It's called The First One. It's on Amazon Music only. So you would have to download the Amazon Music app and find it on there.
Okay.
He interviews different artists. Like we just wrapped up one with Wyclef. And he just interviewed Wyclef about his career and how he got started and everything.
Very cool.
So look up DJ Khaled, The First One. And then we're developing some basketball shows. I'm definitely going to be, leading one of those shows. Don't know which one yet, so I can't make the announcement. But, just look out for the Spring Hill Company Uninterrupted podcast. And there's a good chance I have my hand in some aspect in one of those. So those will be released after the NBA All-Star break, which is in March. So for now, just check out DJ Khaled's The First One. And then, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. And
Very
I'll update
cool. Yes. Tell everybody what your Instagram is.
At Josh_Rodriguez_. Same for Twitter.
Okay, cool. And just saying, this room is still here. I can take the tapestry down. When you're ready to come back to New York, we would love to have you again. Best roomie ever. Like, my God.
That was a good time.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
That was so fun. So super excited for you and all the stuff coming up. It's really awesome. And even though I miss you, I know we'll see each other again soon.
Corazon.
Yes, corazon. Okay, now we're going to do something that's kind of a new thing that I'm adding to Chameleon Cuts that I think is super fun. So all the questions aside, now we're going to do kind of just like a quick round robin. Like I'm going to ask you something and you have to give me a quick response back.
Okay.
Okay, so preference. Pretzels or potato chips?
Why you gotta do that to me, Marty? God
Come
damn,
on, come on. Pretzels. I knew
Pretzels.
it. Okay. Chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream?
Vanilla.
Okay. The Jets or the Giants?
Giants.
The Yankees or
Yankees.
cheese balls or
What?
I said cheese balls or and I didn't say anything because I thought you would have a heart attack when I said cheese balls. Cheese balls. I used to remember the big cheese balls things I used to bring you at college.
We have a picture of me and you playing beer pong while holding cheese balls. There's a picture that exists somewhere.
Those big giant ones, the super unhealthy ones in ShopRite and Ralph's
Yep.
that are just humongous. Yeah. That was
Yep.
Josh's favorite thing ever. Okay, pizza. Pepperoni or plain?
Depends on the place, but mostly pepperoni.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Another fun fact about Josh Rodriguez, he absolutely loves raspberry Snapple iced tea.
Yes.
Yes, loves Snapple iced tea. Never, ever, ever drinks alcohol in his
Right.
life, and loves bagels with bacon.
Yes.
So these are things I know
That's
about
what
my best
this
friend.
was, baby. That was my breakfast this morning.
Oh, I miss you so much. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your information and your experience. And, we talked about so much today, from New York to LA and Hollywood, back and forth, and then
Right.
getting started with production and then your journey, and wish you all the best. Definitely want everybody to tune into your channel and your stuff. And please feel free to reach out to Josh, guys, if you have any questions about anything. He's super friendly and helpful. And we're all in this together, supporting each other in the artist community. And we hope you have a great day. That's it for Chameleon Cuts. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.